Welcome to Talk Branding to Me, the podcast for women building intentional businesses and brands rooted in strategy, not just aesthetics.
Branding doesn't have to feel overwhelming. It's more than design. It's how strategy and style come together to create an identity, build trust, and stand out.
We're your hosts, Jamie Wright of Embellished Brands
and Jessie Ford of Untethered Design Studio.
We're brand strategists, designers, and friends who turned our coffee chats into honest conversations about branding done right
and wrong.
If you're feeling stuck or unsure about your brand, you're in the right place.
And now, let's talk branding. Hey there, we are back for another episode of the Talk Branding to Me podcast. My name is Jessie. I am here with Jamie. Hey, Jamie.
Hi, friends. How are you?
I am doing well over here in my little corner of the world. I think we have a really interesting topic to dive into today on this podcast, all about brand authenticity and confidence. This is something we can always work on. We always need more of. Some people struggle with, especially women and women in the online space, building brands like we do every day for ourselves and others. So let's just dive in.
Let's do it.
I think we live in this digital space where we are constantly being told to be authentic, but it sort of creates this interesting paradox because we're being told to be authentic, yet it almost makes us too aware, and then we try too hard, and then it might come off as being fake, not being genuine. Ironically, not being authentic at all. Where do we draw the line of truly being ourselves, but maybe we are trying to keep up with the way we portray ourselves online and in a professional manner while still blending in who we are personally? And I think that there are just a lot of layers to this. How to do it, how to execute it successfully, and again, how to not try too hard doing it, because doesn't that take away from the very essence of being authentic? You know, what is authenticity really? How do we achieve it? Is it something we achieve? Because isn't the point of being authentic just being who we are?
It's a great paradox to explore.
I think the most important thing to keep in mind, especially when building a brand, we understand that, we speak to an audience of especially women who might not just be building business brands. You might be building a personal brand of some kind. You might have some venture in mind that you're pursuing, some kind of passion project or side hustle. We build brands in all kinds of ways for all kinds of reasons. At the end of the day, I really believe that a brand in general is a blend of the professional and personal, and it's a blend of who you are and what you do, and the experience that someone has, when they partner with you, when they work with you, when they simply come into contact with you, right? The more that you are yourself, let go of this idea of I have to be authentic, I have to be genuine. Because if you are authentic and genuine, you shouldn't have to try so hard to be that. I think that the conversation, especially in the online space, the intention is good behind it, right? The intention is to be authentic because authenticity is what builds trust. And once you have somebody's trust, then they're hooked. Then they want more. Then they want to work with you. They want to learn more. They want to, experience you in some way, connect with you in some way. They relate to you. So I think, again, there's just that fine line between, okay, remembering I have to be authentic online, but not trying too hard to do it, and to really just be yourself, not overthinking it, and kind of delivering, what you do in a relaxed, casual way, conversational. I mean, a lot like this. We're both professionals and I think very good at what we do, but at the end of the day, we're ourselves because we're blending who we are into what we do.
Yeah.
So maybe it's something that doesn't have to be overthought so much. And, just be yourself, because that's really what builds trust with your consumer at the end of the day.
Well, Jessie, I think as I'm listening to you speak, I'm thinking back on conversations I've had with clients as we have been diving into maybe a new brand or some kind of brand refresh, and they're in a place of not necessarily confusion, but I guess maybe just a lack of clarity. So we're asking the questions like, what does this mean, and what does it look like, and how does it feel, and all of that. So for our friends who are listening, maybe some practical tips to help them figure out what is truly authentic to them for their brand is to do a very simple, actually, I'm going to take that back. It sounds simple, but it's a little bit more complex. To do the exercise of figuring out what is the mission statement and vision statement for your brand, whether it's the business brand, a personal brand, or a combination of both, and also figuring out what are the core values that go along with that brand that will support the essence of that brand. I think at a minimum, answering those three things, like what are the vision, mission statements, and core values for your brand, those three things can help you gain clarity on what is true for your brand and what you want your brand to look like, what you want it to feel like. And then maybe from there, as you continue to lean into those things, use those as your guideposts, so to speak, that should help you stay in that authentic lane rather than maybe trying something on one day, see how it looks and feels, and then, I don't know about that. So the next day you try something different. And then over time, you're just kind of all over the place. That would be my recommendation as you were considering what authenticity means to you. Maybe take it down to the nitty gritty, real basic level and just go, what's my purpose of doing this? What are we
Right.
trying to achieve and why and how? And by defining those things and then using those as the benchmarks for all the other decisions you're going to make, that probably will help our friends become authentic, learn what that is for them first, and then become authentic, and then help their brands grow from there.
Yeah, I love that. That's so well said. I don't think I necessarily thought of it that way. I know the importance, obviously, of building a mission and having the vision and the values, that you stand on, certainly in your brand and throughout your branding. And we work clients through those practices all of the time. Even thinking about it from an individual standpoint, remembering at the end of the day just who you are and why you do what you do, that also allows you to naturally just be more
Yeah.
authentic and to just be yourself because, you have the foundation that you're kind of standing on
Hmm.
and holding true to your beliefs, and those convictions that you have about your brand and who you are and who you represent and who you want to reach and how you want to reach them. So I love that. Authenticity, I think, definitely leads to confidence as well, naturally, because the more that you feel like you are yourself, you will attract like-minded people who hold the same values and believe in what you're saying and, relate to you. And when people are able to connect with you on a deeper level, I mean, I think it allows you to feel more confident in what you're doing because you realize that there is a need for it. As business owners, what do we do at the end of the day? We simply provide a solution to a problem. We're problem solvers. So, what do we do that helps somebody? How do we deliver that? If they're getting something out of it, we feel the purpose of why we're doing it in the first place.
Hmm.
How do you think that confidence kind of comes into this conversation, and what do you think it is, and how does somebody really achieve it to
Hmm.
begin with?
I used to think confidence was just something you had to fake it until you made it. It was just something like would just wear during the day. As I've gotten older, as I've had more life experience, my perspective on confidence has changed. And actually, recently, a client of mine who is a coach for other female leaders, we were having a conversation about confidence, and she said this statement, and it just sort of broke my brain in a really good way because I had never thought of confidence in this way. And then I've been sharing it with my own clients and other people since then, and I'll share it with our friends today. She mentioned that confidence is really just this combination of knowledge and experience. For those of us who are service providers, where we might work one on one with people in either just a professional capacity or even, more personal, like a coaching capacity, we can help others with the knowledge. We can help them gain knowledge. People can help themselves by gaining knowledge. But what we may not really be able to actively influence is that experience. What that experience is for some, it's the school of hard knocks. Some it's just life. You just
Yeah.
have to go through life and take the bumps, take the bruises, get back up again. But the combination of that knowledge, or whether it's book smarts, street smarts, or just things you've learned from previous experience, and then also having gone through experiences yourself personally and putting those two things together, I personally feel like that should give someone a lot of confidence because if, especially as women, I think that a lot of us have been through some things. And things have been hard, and we are more emotional creatures, I think, than men. We have a more dynamic and emotional relationship to the things that happen in our lives, and so I think we go through it probably and feel things more deeply than someone else might. So for that, coming out the other side and going, "Wow, that was intense," or "That was great," or whatever that feeling was, we can take that with us. So ultimately, the way my brain really rationalized this statement that my client made and then this concept for myself is I have knowledge and I have past experiences that will help guide me today and in the future. And so I can have confidence that I know more today than I did in the past. I've made mistakes and I've learned from them. I've had things happen to me that I've had to recover from. Through all of those experiences, I have learned and I have grown, and I have kind of tucked away in the back of my mind, note to self, don't do that again. Or note to self, if this happens again, this is how I'm going to respond next time. And so we accumulate a lot of those little notes to ourselves. If we really think about it, we should be confident because we have been through some things, we have survived some things, we've learned a lot, we know how to move forward. And then extrapolating that out towards the future, since that has been our experience so far, I think we can probably count on that to continue
Mhm.
being the experience we have. So even if maybe we're scared about a new opportunity or we're uncertain about something that, a decision we have to make for the future, I think we could still have confidence in going, you know what? I'm not sure about it right now, but I've got knowledge and I have experience. And even if I don't think I have enough, I will continue to grow in those two things. That's going to help me no matter what I'm doing. So I can have confidence that I'm moving in the right direction or that this decision is a good one or whatever that is for you. Like I said, it broke my brain in a really good way. I'd never thought about confidence in that way.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden, I was like, I should be overflowing with confidence because I have made some mistakes. I have learned some hard lessons. I have been through the ringer. What am I so afraid of? And it's been great. And so now I think, even just thinking about business decisions I've got, coming up, I'm just kind of like, I'm less scared. I'm like, you know what? Let's just see what happens because I've had some bad things happen before. And you know what? It's okay, and it's really kind of freeing, so I wanted to share that today because it really just helped me, it gave me a different perspective, and it's kind of freeing as well.
Yeah.
I don't know, Jesse,
I
that's what's
love that. Providing a sense of liberation.
Yes.
And that's such a cool way to put it too, because and again, I didn't really think of it that way either, where it can just kind of be freeing and when you kind of let go of that inhibition and it allows you to just more and more be yourself and
Yeah.
right? Like literally be who you are, say what you're going to say, speak to who you want to speak to because your messaging will land with
Mhm.
the right people, who
Yeah.
do want more of what you offer and do want to work with you and do find value in what you're doing. I think at the end of the day, your people always find you, and that's life and business,
Yeah.
both. And I think this goes back to just growing up in general. What are we always told? Just be yourself. Just be yourself. I mean, how many times have we heard that just throughout our childhoods and our
But you
lives in
don't really
general?
even know yourself that well. Like
Right.
that's the point of childhood is you're learning and growing. But I think being removed from it now for a little bit, as we do get older, for a little bit intentional about paying attention to some of these things that have happened to us and how we feel about it and whatnot. I think if anyone struggles with well, what is authentic? Who am I? Or lacking in self confidence. I think just go back and look at what you've already experienced and what you've been through, what you know to be true. And if you hang on to those things and you live them out and you continue to just walk in the lanes of whatever those things are, you'll be more authentic. And I think you will also have more confidence because you are being true to yourself. And are going to get that positive feedback, I think, because we can feel when someone isn't authentic. It's like two sides of the same coin almost. And so as you walk in, authenticity, you're going to grow in confidence. And as you grow in confidence, you're going to build your authenticity. It just,
Yeah.
they work together really, really well.
Yes.
And I'm also thinking of this quote. I always say, like, "Oh, just trust the process, trust it, let go of control," or like whatever variances that people where that quote might come up. I'm thinking of that, but also I'd almost like to edit it a little bit for our purposes today as we're thinking about authenticity and confidence. Is I would say instead of trust the process, I would say expect that the process will work itself out.
Mm,
Because it has so far, in most cases, for most of us. Would we have chosen some of the paths we've been on? No, probably not. But could we say that some of those experiences have just they've worked out in the end? Yeah, probably. And
yes.
so instead of trusting the process and being, kind of blind about the journey that you're on, taking the reins and knowing that we will still have this element of unfamiliarity, right? Things we don't know the future, but we know what we've been through, and we know who we are, and we know that we've been okay. So we can just expect that could continue into the future, and we can have some confidence in just knowing that it's worked out before, it's going to work out again. I have more experience, I know more this time, and just have the confidence. And then as long as we stay confident, that's going to keep us authentic too.
I love that. I don't have anything else to add to that, Jamie, because I feel like you just
Such
summed
a
it up
quick
super
and
well.
deep thought today. Yes, this was such a
Getting
good topic.
philosophical, but I love it. That is the root of brand building,
Yeah.
figuring out who you are and what
Mhm.
is the quote? "Figure out who you are and do it on purpose." That's probably a notable person that has said that, and I'm usually pretty sharp with quotes, but I have to Google it really quickly. But I see the meaning behind it, right?
Yeah.
Do it on purpose, do it with intention. Once again, I think the things that we speak about don't just apply to business, but they
Mhm.
apply to life and sort of the personal brand that we build for ourselves, even
Absolutely.
outside of what we do
Yeah.
professionally. We're still us no matter what we do and where we're doing it and who we're doing it for. So the only
Yeah.
way to be, I think, is to be ourselves. It's a lot harder. It's a lot more time consuming. It's a lot more challenging to try to be something that we're not. So,
Mhm.
let that kind of bleed through, every touch point that you have within your brand. It's a lot easier to be yourself than somebody else. So,
Exactly.
it's
Exactly.
probably the biggest lesson.
Well, this was a great exploration of authenticity and confidence in branding. To wrap up this episode, because this podcast is called Talk Branding to Me, Jesse, I want you to talk branding to me today.
Okay, so I was kind of thinking, and more of this came to me actually during this conversation that we just had. There is a common theme in a lot of the client testimonials that I will gather after working with people. I'm very simple. Just keep a Google Doc of things that have been mentioned in emails and just straight testimonials that people give me. And there are a couple in particular that stand out who have been wonderful clients. And I remember them saying in regards to just the experience that they had in kind of building a brand and building a website and kind of creating an online presence for their business, their feedback, and this has been consistent and definitely happened on more than one occasion, which is why I say they, has been, I feel so much more confident now. I'm excited to put this out into the world. I feel like a real business. I feel legitimate. I feel like someone is going to take me seriously now.
Mhm.
Those thoughts are always with me, and I'm always referring back to them and, you know, kinda going through files and just, again, notes and things that people have said, and that has always stood out to me, and then the fact that multiple people have said it, and it's very validating because that's the whole point of why I do what I do and how I help people, right? I want
Mhm.
them to have a brand that they are proud of, that feels like them, speaking about authenticity. And that
Mhm.
they're excited to put out into the world and that they're confident to put out into the world so that they are taken seriously, so that people do view them as a professional and as someone that they wanna work with. I think that's the whole point of why I do what I do. So if someone feels that after working with me, they feel happy, they feel confident, they feel excited, then my job is done. Then I did what I needed to do because it's not about the beautiful color palette and brand board and mood board and website. Those are the wonderful, beautiful things that I build and people love. And it's a huge part of what I do. I don't think it's about the actual logo or the website, like the tangible final products. I think it's the experience that someone has along the way, which goes right back to the root of brand building anyway. And it's the experience that my client gives to their clients and customers and so on and so forth. So if they just feel more confident at the end of the day, that's better than any logo I can design or any website I can build, no matter how great those things are and how much people love them. That's not what they're paying for. I think their investment in working with me is that I can get them to the point of feeling excited and feeling confident. And you just can't put a price tag on that.
Mhm. Mhm. I love that. And I would echo that. I've had similar experiences working on brand strategy with clients where they walk away feeling like clarity. They
Mhm.
feel again that their brand is really authentic. And then I have noticed in them a shift where they walk away from our partnership of being more confident. And so then they take this brand we've developed and they launch it into the world. And you can see the confidence just oozing through their social media posts or the way that they're writing the captions on things or their emails. And so, my observation, interestingly enough, your clients have told you that they feel more confident. I don't know that my clients have described it the same way, but I have seen in them an increase in their confidence from when we've had our first meetings to our final meetings where I'm like, there they are. They're ready. They're ready to launch this thing. They love this brand. It's really true to who they are. I know they're going to do really well and I see it in real time. So that's
Yeah.
just such a great observation. I've never really made those connections before. So
Yeah,
wow, that's a good one, Jesse. Thank you for
of course.
talking branding to me. Well, friends, that is all we have for this episode of Talk Branding to Me. We will talk to you again soon.
Thanks for listening to Talk Branding to Me. If today's conversation sparked a new way of thinking about your brand, we'd love for you to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with a fellow business owner who's ready to think deeper about branding and have fun with it too.
For more branding insights, behind the scenes conversations, and resources to support your brand journey, connect with us at Embellish Brands and at Untethered Design on social media.
Don't forget, branding is more than just aesthetics, it's both strategy and style.
Until next time, remember, you're fully capable of building a brand you're proud of, and we're here cheering you on every step of the way.